windy city of Chicago, Illinois. It's Game 2, the Vancouver Canucks and Chicago Blackhawks. The Canucks have yet to win at the United Center, have had trouble with the Hawks all year, 0-5. They need one tonight as they move into Chicago, and they'll face JR. This was the scene at the dressing room today. They had the stall all prepared for number 27. Roenick took to the ice with his teammates and looked sharp and had this to say about his much-awaited return against Vancouver.
So I hope people enjoy myself coming back as much as I'm going to enjoy coming back. You know, I've seen how the building's been the last few games, and it'll be nice to see it rocking, especially for a big game like this. I get the anxiety attacks. You know, you just can't wait to get out there and start bumping some heads and getting back into the game. I don't really get nervous too often. It's just the nerves really come from overexcitement.
Butterflies. You know about the butterflies. Greg Millen joins me. Good evening. I'm Ron McLean. Welcome to Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. Jeremy Roenick goes in. Jeff Brown's out, by the way. More on that in a minute. A lot of people contend it's a mistake to throw JR in now when the Hawks have been on a roll. What do you think?
Oh, I think you have to play him. You know, if he's your best player, you have to play your best player. And let's face it, JR adds a lot of energy to the Chicago Blackhawk game. He's going to be hitting and skating, something we haven't seen a lot of from the Blackhawks. And hey, what about their power play? It's been poor so far. Maybe that'll add a lot of boost, offensive boost.
Do you think Joe Murphy, though, Denny Savard, guys who've really picked up the slack, might sit back and say, Jeremy's here, and they'll take it easy?
That is the fear, obviously. You know, sometimes your good players that have been playing well, when your star comes back, you're like, oh, I can take it easy a little bit, but they can't do that, and I don't think they will. This is too important a hockey game. Playoffs are a little bit different.
Get your thoughts on the Canucks as we move along, but let's get right to the United Center. Look over here in the broadcast booth, Dick Irvin and John Garrett, and for Jeremy and other subjects, over to you, fellas.
Okay, Ron, well, here in Chicago, it's not the question who shot JR, it's the phrase, welcome back, JR. Greg, you're talking about the power play. They're 1 for 19 on home ice in the playoffs so far. Injuries. You'd like to talk, I know, JG, about who's back and who's not back.
Well, Jeremy Roenick, Greg Millen talked about the power play, but the creativity and the ice time of the other players, and especially for Bernie Nichols. It takes a lot of the pressure off Bernie Nichols to have Jeremy Roenick back, because now the other teams can't key on Roenick. And Jeff Brown on the other side of the coin for the Vancouver Canucks. You talk about power plays. Their power play was dreadful in Game 1. It was 0 for 4, and one of the reasons was they didn't have that quarterback. They didn't have Jeff Brown gaining the blue line and controlling the puck.
You know, at playoff time, it's always a mix-up, a mystery of the injury situation for the teams, the media, and I guess the fans as well.
You look back to the Quebec Rangers series. Yeah. We didn't even know Huey Krupp was hurt, and he missed Game 6. Bob Asson, the same thing. Trevor Linden has played hurt. He was not very effective in Game 1. How badly hurt, nobody knows.
All right, Ron McLean has no secrets. Ron, back to you.
Okay, Dick, Chris Cuthbert will join you in the broadcast booth as we get set for the matchup there. You know, one fellow, Greg, who's been sensational is Kirk McLean. Vancouver's on a roll, winning a series in 7, but they've given up 39 shots. Hard to keep up with this guy, but Steve Armitage can.
Kirk, the opener was low scoring. Would you expect the same kind of effort tonight in Game 2?
Oh, I think so. I mean, it was you know, tight checking and good physical play, good skating. But I think with the addition of Roenick, it might add a little bit more speed, so we're going to have to be just as physical.
The Hawks like to shoot the puck in, which gets you more involved. Is that the way you like to be? Handle the puck a little bit more?
Well, I like to handle it, but not overhandle it. It gets you into the game, and it certainly helps out your defensemen when you have forwards like the Hawks do that like to really force and pressure and crash the defense up against the boards. So if you can get out and handle it, make it easy on them, you know, we can turn our defense to offense a lot quicker.
Would you expect to see the Hawks in your face a little bit more and perhaps get you off your game that way?
Well, I wouldn't like to see it, but I'm sure they're probably going to try and do it, and we certainly have to do it the same thing at the other end, because you know, Eddie's you know, an aggressive type of goaltender, and if we can stop him from getting out and cutting down the angles, you know, it's going to make it a little bit easier on ourselves.
You mentioned the fact that Roenick is back in the lineup tonight. What does he bring to the Hawks' attack that you'll be watching for?
Well, certainly speed and I guess you could say style. I mean, he's an electrifying player that thrives off of like excitement, and he can play physical with the best of them too. But he's got a great shot. But his best aspect is his speed. He can really catch the defense napping and you know, blow by them if they're not ready.
Kirk, thanks for doing this. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Still cool, Kirk McLean. Well, in Detroit tonight, it's a blowout again for the Red Wings. There's Paul Coffey from Erie and Yzerman to start it at 1:37. Here's Sergei Fedorov from Lidstrom. Power play goal at 7:38, 2-zip. Artur Zerbe, as you can see, in for the Sharks this evening. He gets blasted again here. A pretty play, Bob Erie to Stevie Yzerman. 12:07, the shots were 18-3 Red Wings at that stage. Then Dino Ciccarelli, his 6th of the postseason from Primo at 15:47 at the end of a period, 4-0 Detroit. We're set to face it off in Chicago, the Canucks and the Hawks, next on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC.
JR's back, and the Canucks hope to bounce back in Game 2 of the Western Conference semifinal. We're set from the United Center in Chicago. Kirk McLean of Willowdale, Ontario, one of Vancouver's best in the opener with 28 saves. Kay Whitmore is the backup for the Canucks. And at the other end, Carmen, Manitoba's Eddie Belfour. He's won 3 straight at home, 5 of his last 6 overall. 26 saves Sunday in Game 1. Paul Stewart, tonight's referee, with Jerry Gauthier and Brian Murphy on the lines.
Eddie Belfour had a relatively easy night in Game 1, Dick, and a lot of it was because the Canucks didn't crash the net or couldn't crash the net. Very few rebounds.
Well, it's the kind of a game nobody was crashing the net. Rick Lee said it's the least emotional game in the playoffs so far as he's concerned. It's going to be a little better tonight. There was talk here in Chicago that there could have been as many as 6,000-7,000 empty seats for Game 1. Doesn't look it. Chris, you were here for Game 7 the other night. 21,793, the largest playoff crowd in Stanley Cup history. Not quite that many tonight, but a lot, and we're underway.
And the building jumping, and I guess it's hand in hand with the return of Roenick. Here's a turnover, and Bure saving a chance as Nichols was in behind the Canucks defense. But both teams expecting the energy level to be much higher tonight as Nichols crashes into Lume. Nichols in the corner looking for it, and Chris Chelios out at center ice, and Murray Craven, the former Canuck, is loose there with Joe Murphy. Goals in 5 straight games. Craven from a bad angle, and that's blocked by Murzin. Around the boards for Bure, who has points in every game in the playoffs, and out to center ice. And Murzin has it now. Over center, and he'll drop it in. And Jeremy Roenick's on the ice. Big roar goes up as Roenick is out with Denny Savard. That's JR, bumped immediately by Russ Courtnall. And Amante also on the Roenick line as Babbage clears it in, and Belfour makes his first save. Russ Courtnall forechecking, and now it's cleared to Roenick and out to Amante, and moving up now Gary Suter, trying to roar into the zone, pulled down by Hennigan. And the Canucks chip it out to center.
A good hit by Jeremy Roenick on Joseph Baranek. Roenick talked about being hit and giving hits.
Here's Savard moving in, and his shot blocked by Babbage. Roenick is already at the bench. Expected his shifts wouldn't be much longer than 30 seconds during his first game back after 7 weeks out.
And normally as center, they're starting him on the wing alongside Denny Savard at center tonight.
Here's a rink-wide pass, and Brent Sutter cruising into the Canucks zone on the backhand. Double team, tripped up off the puck. Running, spinning away from Patrick Poulin. And now Lume after it against Dirk Graham, who's hooked down, and the first penalty of the game will go against the Vancouver Canucks, Jason Cullimore.
Jason Cullimore trying to create some time for his defense partner. Takes the tripping penalty, and with Paul Stewart refereeing, you know, good clean hits, good physical hits you can get away with. But away from the play, Dirk Graham hooked up by Jason Cullimore, and that's called by Paul Stewart. He's been around enough, and his reputation is well known, so the teams know what they can do with Paul Stewart. You can't get away with something like that.
Vancouver penalty, number 34, Jason Cullimore, 2 minutes for tripping.
Jeremy Roenick, Dick, talked about getting back into game shape and game feel. And you do that by giving hits and taking hits. Good hit on Joseph Baranek.
Well, you mentioned the power play problems of Chicago. They were 0 for 18 till overtime in Game 1. And Murphy scored the power play goal to win the first game of this series. We expect to see Roenick on the power play, but he just completed his first shift of the game and is on the bench as Nichols, Savard, and Murphy start up front with Gary Suter and Chris Chelios. And here's Murphy to the line. The hero of game one winds up the shot well off the target. Comes to Chelios and Suter. He pushes it into Savard, back out to the point. Christian Ruutu and Linden, the penalty killers, and here's a chance for Nichols in front. And the puck hopped over the stick of Denny Savard on the neat setup. Dana Merzen backhanding it into the corner. And Savard is there, back to Suter. Returning to Savard, 3 straight games. He has scored over a point in each of those games. Now Nichols down low, and it bounced off Dana Merzen to McLean. Kept in. Minute left to go in the man advantage, and now Suter mishandles the pass out to center.
Bernie Nichols hasn't scored in 24 games, and you can see he's overpassing the puck. Not confident with his shot, trying too many passes in close.
Now it's Chelios getting it in, clearing it over on the right side. Amonte after it against Lume. Rings the boards to Nichols. 38 seconds left in the man advantage. Nichols centering pass. Murphy couldn't find it. Now Murphy has it along the boards, and Lume right on him. And the Canucks are able to dump it out down the ice. 3.5 minutes gone in this first period, and 20 seconds remaining in the power play. And here's JR, lead pass, just missed Amonte off the stick of Hennigan. Kirk McLean out, and he does a nice job of getting it down the ice. Bure speeding after it. Steve Smith got there first. Bure goes down, and Didick leading the last rush of this power play. Amonte gets it across to Roenick. And now the Canucks back at full strength. Amonte bodied along the boards. Hennigan trying to clear it. Didick keeps it in. Here's Amonte spinning it out in front. And it comes outside the line. And it's center ice. Cliff Ronning takes over for the Canucks. Here's a shot off the target. Moving up is Babbage, and Amonte took a hit but got it to center. Craven now moving into the Canucks zone, dropping it off. Gerald Didick puts it in front. There's Craven, not Poulin from the bench moving in. He tries to center it off a stick. Into the corner it goes. Poulin takes a bump. Dirk Graham takes over. There's Poulin to the boards with Babbage. Ronning hooked the puck away from Graham. And Cliff Ronning sends it down the ice, but right on Ed Belfour. Brent Sutter skating out to center. We played exactly 5 minutes of the first period as Poulin moves in. Rebound hit the side of the net. Kirk McLean well out to cut off the angle, and he controls the rebound off the side of the net.
The best technical goalie in the NHL, Kirk McLean, well out, legs square, still standing, able to take away the angle, and Patrick Poulin has nothing. Shoots it, banks it off the side of the net, and McLean's there to cover it up.
A couple of youngsters on this face-off. Mike Pekka against Jeff Shantz, and Cam Russell at the point, put right on, and the rebound collected by the Canucks.
And a penalty call in the traffic in front of McLean. The Canucks draw their second penalty here, and the game is just past the 5-minute mark. Jyrki Lumi gets caught by referee Stewart, and Rick Lee doesn't like that. His team on the defensive again this early.
Holding the stick, Jyrki Lumi, after losing the face-off, the Hawks go to the net, get in front of Kirk McLean, and Lumi has a hold of Eric Daze's stick. He can't get it free, and Paul Stewart's right there to make the call.
Well, Chicago had good puck control on that first power play, but did not muster a shot on Kirk McLean. And remember, this was the top-ranked power play during the regular season, but they have struggled so far in the playoffs. And Vancouver controls the face-off. Hennigan clears it down the ice. Roenick out to start this power play. He's cruising down at the Vancouver blue line. Tony Amonte and Denny Savard also up front. Here's Gary Suter into the zone. Amonte centering it, and the puck hopped over the stick of Roenick. Amonte spun around, stayed with it. Now Chelios moves up. Roenick's loose in front. They can't get him the puck. Chelios back to Amonte. Return pass to Chelios. Denny Savard to Roenick. Back to Gary Suter. Here's Jeremy Roenick. Denny Savard shot right on. And the Canucks up with it, and it's Brett Hedican carrying it out to center and flipping it down the ice with 50 seconds gone in the penalty. Gary Suter's on the move again. Draped on him is Cullimore. Puck squirts out in front. Here's Murphy. He can't control it. It came outside the line, so the Hawks have to check up outside. Nichols didn't realize that, and he's forechecking.
He wants the whistle. Yeah. He knows the Canucks will stall in their own zone and kill some time.
They're better off for the offside.
37 seconds to go. Now Craven. Nichols, there's Murphy. Working against Merzen. And Steve Smith can't keep it in. Here's Courtnall now dashing into the zone. Courtnall with Bure, and he's checked by Diddick. Just 15 seconds left in the man advantage as Murphy moves back. Here's Murphy on the right side to Craven. Turns it back to Diddick. Shot right on. Nichols looking for the rebound. Bernie centers it in front. Craven can't get a good shot away. It comes to the point. Diddick keeps it in, and now Courtnall will bring it out. Lume back on the ice. He takes the pass 2-on-1 and whistled it wide with Bure loose on the right wing.
2-on-1 without a shot on goal. Lume and Bure, and the Canucks talked about it. You get limited chances against the Hawks, and when you do get a chance, you have to at least get the shot on goal.
Two good penalty kills for Vancouver.
Under. Well, they tie it up for a face-off. Tim Hunter with some good work, and we'll have a face-off in the Chicago zone.
The Canucks just had a 2-on-1, and John Garrett shaking his head over the outcome.
Jyrki Lume takes the pass. He sees Bure. Bure had 20 goals this year. Jyrki Lume had 5. And Lume tries to go short side on Belfour. Bure was open on the wrong wing. I think the pass was in vogue there. Lume with the shot, and he didn't even hit the net.
From the face-off, Hawks up with it. Dirk Graham feeding it ahead to Brent Sutter, and there's Patrick Poulin working in. And Lume makes the defensive play and clears it back out to center. Once again, Dirk Graham taking the morning skate off, but is in the lineup for Chicago tonight. Kriva Krasov is the scratch, making room for the return of Jeremy Roenick. Poulin behind the net, takes a hit from Cullimore. And it's cleared ahead to the captain, Linden. Here come the Canucks to the line, it's cleared in. Gino Ojic's on the ice. First shift for Gino since the 2-game suspension. And Dirk Graham stepped over the red line and clears it in. 8.5 minutes gone. First period still scoreless in Game 2 of this series at the United Center. Gary Suter backhands it in. And it's Merzen sending it up on the left wing to Momesso, cross ice, and there's Martin Jelena back in the lineup to Cliff Ronning. Ronning shot right on, Momesso with the rebound, and a bad angle, hit the side of the net, get another chance, and the shot doesn't get through. Scramble, Ronning, and Belfour made the save on Cliff Ronning.
Good pressure by the Vancouver Canucks. Looks like musical chairs on the benches as both coaches trying to match lines. The Canucks catch the Hawks on a line change. Momesso can't get the rolling puck to sit down. Has no angle, hits the side of the net, and Cliff Ronning has the same problem. By the time the puck comes to him, it's on end, and he can't get much on it. Just barely scoops it at Ed Belfour, and Belfour makes the easy save. Daryl Sutter tries to get Suter and Chelios out against the Bure line, so every time the Bure line comes on, they jump over, and then when Bure goes off, they head right to the bench.
And Ronning's line out there now. Steve Smith is on defense for Chicago with Gerald Diddick. And there's Momesso tangled up behind the play with Jeremy Roenick, and that gets a whistle.
There's penalties on Sergio Momesso and Jeremy Roenick. They were involved way behind the play after it started up toward the Canucks end. The two number 27s got tangled up in the corner. Now we'll see it right here. Up against the boards is how it starts. One push leads to another shove. Down they go, but they kept at it. There's Stewart right there. He's got a front row seat on this one. And finally, right about now, he blew the whistle, and that was that.
Momesso gets a holding penalty and Roenick a roughing penalty, and you can bet the Canucks, every chance they get, they'll take a run at Jeremy Roenick.
Well, Jeremy was saying this morning he won't have the puck as much in the first few games back. He'll try and make up for that with physical play. So not shy despite coming back off that injury after 7 weeks. Here's Nichols on the right side, firing it in on McLean. And he's got it in the equipment and holds on.
We've talked a lot about Roenick. He has been the main topic of conversation. And this morning when he held his media conference up against the wall here at the United Center, Daryl Sutter started off by saying, no Jeremy Roenick questions. We don't talk about injured players. We don't talk about line combinations. We don't talk about things like that in playoffs. No Jeremy Roenick questions. And that's, he just wouldn't talk about it. Meanwhile, all the media is in the dressing room talking to Chris Chelios and Denny Savard and Jeremy Roenick and asking Jeremy Roenick questions.
And Jeremy answering all the questions.
Here's Lume out at center ice. Cross ice pass, 4-on-4. Trevor Linden and Pavel Bure are out there. Murray Craven and Bernie Nichols. And it's chipped into the corner for Suter. Up ahead for Craven at center. Craven chased back by Bure. And now Suter. On the move, working against Cullimore. Nichols is in front. And Cullimore buries Suter behind the net. Minute gone in this 4-on-4 situation. Linden passing it over to Lume. He turns back and just dumps it in. Here's Linden. He trapped Belfour. Craven sprawling to help his goaltender. As Belfour got trapped and almost left the net open for Linden.
Bad communication. Eddie Belfour is back to the play. Didn't spot Linden. He got no verbal help from his defenseman.
Still scoreless. 9:20 to go, first period. And under a half-minute now left in this 4-on-4 situation as Joe Murphy is one-on-one. Moving into the zone. Murphy shot right on. Can't reach the rebound. As Murphy showed a burst of speed against the rookie Adrian Aucoin. Now Russ Courtnall. Pulling it in offside is the call with just under 9 minutes to go here in the first period. Welcome back to Chicago, Illinois, and Game 2 of this Western Conference semifinal between the Vancouver Canucks and the Chicago Blackhawks. That's the Water Tower, one of the great landmarks here in this second city of the United States. And here's Hedican into the zone, flipping it off the glass. After it is Baranek. Now out with Courtnall, and the penalized players have returned to the ice. And that means Roenick's on a break with Denny Savard. To the line, Savard. His pass to Steve Smith, and just on the short side, McLean got a piece of it. Now Amati has to carry back out to center. Sends it back in past Savard, and Dave Babbage celebrating a birthday today off the boards, kept in by Diddick. Savard along the boards. Back to the point, and it comes outside the line. Now Smith will clear it back in. Rink wide pass goes to Jeff Courtnall. He's hammered by Steve Smith, and it's pushed back out to center ice. With exactly 8 minutes left in the first period.
The only person involved in this game able to get the crowd going, the organist, so far.
Here's Patrick Poulin. One-handing it, but Lume took it away. And the puck bouncing over the stick of Weinrich down the ice. Weinrich and Cam Russell now out on defense for Chicago, and Daryl Sutter said they were his best pair in game number 1. Now Poulin trying to work in. Cleared off the glass. Russell will keep it in at the line, and now cleared out to center. Brent Sutter. Poulin flipping it back, and Dirk Graham, the captain, will forecheck with Sutter. Sutter knocked the puck out of midair, and Graham has control. Two great veterans checking for Chicago, Sutter and Graham. Now Poulin is after it. Tullamore around the boards. Momesso can't get it by the defenseman. And Jelena will try and gets it out to center. Another close checking period between these two teams. Cam Russell trying to get it ahead. And it is called. And mentioned the organist, Dick. Steve Armitage is standing by in the organ loft.
Thank you, Chris. Frank Pellico is with me now, and while he's working, Frank, perhaps you can tell us the difference between the sound in this building and the old stadium.
The old pipe organ actually literally moved air in the ceiling, and it was so big and powerful that you could feel vibrations, you know what I mean? The whole building would move. This organ can literally be louder than the old building because it's amplified, and they can have 100,000 watts of power up here, so they just turn the power up. But you'll never feel the depth like the old pipe organ.
Thanks, Frank. Chris, back to you.
Well, the organ might be as loud, but the fans haven't been so far tonight. And in these playoffs, here's Ojic tying Joe Murphy up before he could get over the line. Murray Craven will try off the left wing. Pushing it ahead. Here's Nichols. Shot right on. And the rebound out to Bure, who sends it down the ice. The shots are 8-4 in favor of Chicago, icing the call against the Canucks.
And if you were sitting there watching Steve's interview and said, isn't that Vladislav Tretiak sitting there? Yes, you're right. He's the goaltending consultant slash coach for the Blackhawks. There's Rick Lee, who's sweater number 2 with the Hartford Whalers. John has been retired, and your old hockey home down there. Rick, 2 years coach of the Whalers, played for Toronto and Hartford, and along with Daryl Sutter, passed the first playoff round in his head coaching career in the NHL for the first time.
And a tough situation in Vancouver after a mediocre season and lots of contract squabbles, and Rick has pulled the team together again here in the playoffs.
Tim Hunter taking his man along the boards, but coming up with it is Cummins, and Cummins in front does a shot on the line to McLean. Rebound, scores! Jim Cummins.
Kurt McLean has problems with this one right from the face-off. The Hawks again battle along the boards and win the battle along the boards. Cummins comes up, has the original shot, and McLean's got it in his feet. He can't find it, tries to clear it again, and he can't find it before Jim Cummins does. That's a problem with a good puck-handling goaltender like McLean. They're hesitant to take the whistle. He wants to play it with a stick. And he fans on it, and Cummins is right there.
His first career playoff goal. First goal of the night.
And it comes at 13:56. The Hawks strike first in game 2. Mike Pekka moving back in for the Canucks. Here's Pekka's shot off a stick and wide. And turning with it is Gerald Diddick. Daze on the left, Cummins on right wing. And it's cleared by O'Coin back out to center. Here's a long shot in off the stick of Ruutu. Jeff Chance too far for Smith. That goes to Daze. And the big rookie feeding it ahead to Cummins. Can't get by O'Coin and Courtnall, and Russ Courtnall will come back. Here's Courtnall the line. He's stopped. And Weinrich up ahead to Amonte. Was looking for Weinrich on the return pass, but he turned out of the zone, and Roenick took a hit. Cam Russell ahead to Roenick, and here they come into the zone. Savard is breaking, and so is Amonte too far. Tony Amonte. He's bumped by Merson in the corner. Merson taking it away. Up for the Courtnalls. Out at center ice, they can't get loose. Russ Courtnall will try again to Lume. Jyrke Lume moving in. Working against Weinrich. Lume holding on. And now tied up. Amonte is tied up by Jeff Courtnall. And here's Baranek with the shot. That's off the skate out to center.
Amonte's going to get a penalty for decking Russ Courtnall.
Paul Stewart making the call and hearing the boos because the fans here thought Vancouver should have been penalized earlier.
Chicago's Tony Amonte for elbowing. Well, as they say on television, folks, you be the judge. Is this an elbow or whatever? I'd say it's high sticking. But he called it elbowing, and the Canucks go on a power play.
Good shot from our net cam of the goal. Kirk McLean kicks it out with his foot, tries to handle it with his stick. Instead of falling on it, when you're a good puck handler, you tend to do that. McLean tried to play it with his stick and couldn't get it before Jim Cummins got to it.
And Cummins, as Dick mentioned, first Stanley Cup playoff goal. Daze with his first point in Stanley Cup playoff action.
Always a bonus when you get a goal from a line like that. You crash, bang line, and they chip in with a goal.
Well, there was some speculation Daze would be the sitter tonight with the return of Bronick, but Daryl Sutter has really liked what Daze has contributed with his size at 6'4" and 219. Canucks on the power play for the first time tonight, and Pavel Bure is manning the point, something we didn't see in game one, although they used him in that role quite a bit in the St. Louis series. Bure clearing it in. Ojic's out there as well with Linden and Ronning. Lume the other point man. Ronning can't catch up with it, but it'll be kept in by Lume. Chelios after it. Ronning keeps it in for Vancouver. Comes to Wojcik. There's the shot. Steve Smith got in front of that. Now Chelios sprawling. Can't clear it against Lume. Trevor Linden tied up by Chelios. Ronning takes over. Can't get it back to Bure. Along the boards. Work free. Comes to Graham and down the ice.
Good play by Jyrki Lume on Chelios. He doesn't make the play. Chicago gets a breakaway.
45 seconds left in the man advantage. 3:03 remaining in the first period. Hawks with a 1-0 lead. Now Momesso clearing it behind the net. It comes out to Nichols, and he'll send the Canucks back.
When the Canucks are shooting it in, they're standing at the blue line. Belfour comes out, stops it, and the Hawks are able to clear the zone.
Hawks with the Canucks with the fourth best power play in the playoffs. 11 for 47. But not sharp here yet against Chicago. Baranek stopped as he tried to cross the line. Nichols takes a bump, but gets it past Babbage. Now just 5 seconds left. DeMonte ready to return. Last chance for Momesso. Hacking at him is Diduck. Here's Momesso. Russ Courtnall behind the net. Back to Momesso and Weinrich on him. Up ahead to Murphy, in the middle to Amati. He's back in action and on the move. Turned back by Babbage. Now Amati knocked down by Courtnall at center ice, so they've got something going.
And then the other Courtnall took a run at it.
Rink-wide pass. Jeff Courtnall's offside with 1:48 left in the first period. Hawks with the lead.
Danny Savard back with his regular line mates, Murray Craven and Jeremy Roenick, as Craven is out there against Mark Tangellina in the Pekka line.
Here's Craven giving it to Roenick as he speeds in the zone. Took a bump, and the Canucks cleared back out to center. Babbage up on the right wing to Jelena. Out to center. Chelios is there, and Roenick clearing it back in. McLean now will play it along the near side board, and it gets to Jelena. Jeff Courtnall flipping it in on Belfour. Canucks making a change. Chelios up to Craven. Under a minute to go, first period. And the lone goal scored by Jim Cummins. Here's Gary Suter. Back to Chelios. That tandem didn't play as much in game one as they did in the first series. Brent Sutter with a shot right on. Now Bure taking off. Here's Pavel Bure moving in with Linden. Bure trying to get it to Linden, but Poulin came back well. Patrick Poulin off the boards. Lume there for Vancouver. And Ojcik got that deflected off a high stick and wide of the net. Time ticking down in this first period. Lead pass to Bure and Smith right on him. Linden pursues the puck, but Diddick got there ahead of him. Merzen bumped it center as he clears it in. And Belfour wraps it around the boards, and that will do it for the first period of Game 2. More airtight defense for the Chicago Blackhawks, and they have the lead after 20 minutes, 1-0. Cummins with his first from Shantz and Daze as we return to the broadcast center. Here again, Ron McLean.
Thanks, Chris. A lot closer in your game, as you know. Joe Louis Arena, Detroit, second period action now. The Wings on the power play. That's Yzerman in the corner to Fedorov in the slot. His third goal makes it now 5-0 Red Wings. Let's go to Joe Lou and join Ken Daniels.
All right, Ron, thank you. 3:50 to go in this second period. The Red Wings have been relentless on the attack throughout this night. Coffey, Fedorov with 2 goals. Yzerman and Cicerelli have done the goal scoring for Detroit. Here's Coffey again, who feeds it along the boards as the Red Wings work it in deep. 38-12. The shots on goal favoring the Detroit Red Wings. Wings with another chance. Kite takes his man out of the play. Back to the point it goes. Coffey left it in the corner. Kite seals Doug Brown in along the boards. They still fight for it. Brown tried to get it around for Kozlov, but Peterson knocked it up the boards, not out of the zone. Here's Kozlov in the slot, turning with it. Tried to feed it through. Janney, he lost the puck. We've seen this a lot tonight. Even when San Jose gains control, they can't clear. There's Coffey. Side of the net, looks to center, but Peterson takes it and feeds Craig Janney. Janney up with Jamie Baker. Across the line, brought it through, but it's offside at the Detroit blue line. The Red Wings have been terrific tonight on the power play, as they were in game number 1. 2 for 3 tonight. And that man there, Paul Coffey, has had himself an outstanding game. Coffey with a goal. He started the Red Wings 1:37 into the hockey game. He also picked up an assist. Scott Bowman looking to get back to the Stanley Cup final one more time. Been there 9 times, won 6, including the last 6. And for Kevin Constantine, started Artur Zerbe in goal tonight. And that was a perfect opportunity for him. He had given Wade Flaherty the chance, game 6 and 7. And of course, the San Jose Sharks upset the Calgary Flames and gave Wade Flaherty the start in game number 1. He couldn't really be faulted, though, in a 6-0 loss. The San Jose Sharks have yet to score a goal in this building this season against the Detroit Red Wings. Shut out twice during the 48-game schedule, and in game 1, a couple of 6-0 shutouts, along with 3-0 during the regular season, and losing here 5-0. Krupa ties up his man, and as Yzerman gets it back of the net, he's watched by Jeff Friesen, the youngest player in the National Hockey League. Draped over Yzerman into the slot, side of the net, hit the goal post. Another great chance for the Red Wings, but Shepard banged it off the post, their 3rd post that Detroit's hit tonight. Another shot. That couldn't get through, as the Red Wings will just clear the zone. Detroit could easily have 8 goals tonight against San Jose with a little bit more luck, but no luck except for the posts has gone the Sharks' way. Here's Dino Cicerelli, who's been red hot in these playoffs. Cicerelli with 6 goals in just 4 games and 4 on the power play, as the Sharks will hold on. And another face-off coming up to the left of Artur Zerbe. And he's been Kevin Constantine's man. After all, he won him a Turner Cup in the minors, a championship. It's back in that awful 71 loss season for the San Jose Sharks. Wade Flaherty was called up, and then Artur Zerbe took over in goal for Kevin Constantine in the minors. And we know what Zerbe has done through the huge playoff upsets for the San Jose Sharks. Igor Larionov on this draw against Keith Primo for Detroit. The Red Wings looking for more. They've outshot San Jose 39-12. Primo wins the draw, back to the point. Fetisov gets over there to hold it in and gives it to Dino Cicerelli. Has the puck stripped from him by Big Sandis Ozolinsh. Ozolinsh up on the attack with Donovan. Into the slot. Chris Tansel's shot. That rolls through, but Mike Vernon is able to hang on, and we'll have another face-off coming up to the left of Vernon, who shut out the San Jose Sharks in game 1 6-0, and also shut out San Jose back on April 13th by a score of 3-0. So with 1:23 to go in this second period, 5-0 Detroit. Now back to Ron McLean.
Thanks very much, Ken. The Octopi have a greater presence than the Sharks in Detroit these days. Unbelievable. San Jose just can't score a goal at Joe Louis, and the Canucks hard-pressed at the United Center right now. We'll have more on Molson Hockey Night in Canada in a moment. Joe Louis Arena, another goal for the Red Wings. Short-handed effort for Doug Brown. That's 8 that the Sharks have allowed in the postseason. And the score is the same as a game ago at Detroit. 6-0. The Red Wings lead in command there, late stages of the second period. Tomorrow night, Philadelphia Flyers are at Madison Square Garden, New York. We'll have that game nationwide at Dandy Clash of Titans at 7:30 ET. And then Game 3 of the Hawks and the Canucks is at the Pacific Coliseum. Make note of the time, 7 o'clock local time, 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 ET. We'll have coverage of that game on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. It's 1-0 Blackhawks after 20 minutes of play. As the 1960s commenced, the most exciting team in hockey resided in Chicago. The Blackhawks featured young stars like Bobby Hull, Glenn Hall, and Stan Mikita. Rudy Pellis was head coach, and he conducted a championship run in 1961. It was the Hawks' 5th Cup final appearance. It took them 6 games to eliminate Detroit, capturing their first Cup since 1938. Stanley Cup. Chicago Blackhawks lead Vancouver 1-0 at the end of a period of play. Jim Cummins with his first Stanley Cup playoff goal. The difference so far is shots 11-5 at the end of one. Greg Millen, what'd you think?
Well, once again, the Blackhawks are playing a very strong game defensively. They always have 2 or 3 forwards back. The Vancouver Canucks are going to have to do a much better job penetrating their zone somehow.
How would they do it?
Well, in the neutral zone, they're going to have to send the puck into the corners, away from Ed Belfour if they're going to shoot it in, or they're going to have to get their defense a lot more active by joining the play.
The one good chance they had, Jyrki Lumme, it looked a lot like it was setting up like Kevin Haller and Renberg yesterday, but as John Garrett mentioned, he missed the net, unfortunately. He's their leading point getter with 6. I don't know if the Hawks, for their part, aren't relying on Chelios to score as much as he used to, and he's been disciplined. It seems like a perfect game for Chicago, and I wonder if Vancouver can rattle them.
I don't know. Pavel Bure's going to have to shake loose as well. You know, Chelios and Suter is on the ice all the time against Pavel Bure, and somehow he's going to have to shake them off and not lose his confidence and particularly not get frustrated. Remember last year?
Yes.
When he used his stick a little bit too much? Well, he's got to be careful that way.
Shane Churler remembers him too. You know, 0-2 is a bad deficit. The New York Rangers 14 times in their history have been down that way and have never rallied. In Vancouver, 5 times 0-2 in the playoffs, have never come back to win. So it's a big game at the United Center. Somehow the Canucks have to get on track. We'll have more of that story on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC after this.
This portion of Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC's Stanley Cup playoff coverage brought to you by Ford Motor Company of Canada Limited. And by Pepsi. Nothing else is a Pepsi.
Welcome back to Chicago, the Windy City. The Blackhawks and the Canucks on the ice, ready to start the second period. A 1-0 Chicago lead. And just a couple of minutes ago, Steve Armitage caught up with one of the assistant coaches of the Vancouver Canucks.
With me now, the Canucks assistant coach, Glenn Hanlon. Glenn, a quick thought on period 1 of game 2.
Well, I think this is what we expected coming into the series. A lot more emotion than there was in game 1, a lot more hitting. We've sort of established ourselves here in the physical aspect of the game. Now we've got to come out and put some numbers on the board.
We suggested to Kirk McLean at the beginning of the game that this might be something the Hawks would do, and that is to run the crease, to get lots of traffic in front of them, and that first goal was a direct result of that.
Well, it was. There was a bit of a scramble going on there, and we got one of their guys got loose. We had one of our D behind the net, so we ended up being outnumbered there. And if the puck is within 2 or 3 feet of your net for much more than a second or two, the odds are going to go against you that sometimes can end up in the net.
Glenn, good luck in the second period.
Thanks, Steve.
Chris, back to you.
And Steve, Dick, Glenn Hanlon, one of only 2 goaltenders in Vancouver Canuck history who has not lost a playoff game. And the other is in the building, sitting right beside us, John Garrett.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Am I supposed to say I would have guessed that in a minute?
11-5 were the shots on goal in the first period, favoring Chicago, and no shots for the Courtnalls, Pavel Bure, Trevor Linden. So somehow the Canucks have to crack through offensively against the Jennings Trophy winners for the 3rd time in 5 years. The Chicago Blackhawks, who have a 1-0 lead here early in the second period. Lumme out to center ice. Linden, Ojic, and Bure are on the ice for the Canucks. Bernie Nichols with Craven and Murphy for Chicago. And here's Nichols into the zone. Murphy reaching for it, but Lumme dishes it off for Vancouver, and on the right side is Bure. Here's Pavel Bure dropping off. Linden shot. Ojek was in front of the net, and Belfour made the save. Nichols now back at center for Chicago, ahead to Murphy. And Dave Babbage will turn. Hit Nichols with his pass, and Bernie Nichols dumps it in the corner, took a hit, and Chicago completes a change. Dana Merzen just clears it out to center ice. Bure got tied up with Amonte. Chris Chelios flips it to center. That hit Merzen. He's bumped by Roenick, who looks for the loose puck, and Amonte has it tied up for a faceoff. Well, there's the lone goal of the first period, and a big bonus for Chicago, getting the fourth line to score it. Cummins from Chance and Daze.
Shots on goal 11-5, and of those 5, only one good scoring chance for Vancouver in that first period. You mentioned the no shots for Pavel Bure, and you wouldn't expect Jeremy Roenick to be in game-shape timing. I think we saw that in the first period. He was effective using the body, but handling the puck and missing passes and not being in the right spot, that's going to take a little while.
But he showed a lot of energy for the Hawks in period 1. And is playing on a line with Denny Savard and Tony Amonte. Steve Smith pinching in, and he kicks it free in the corner for Savard. Back out to Amonte at the point, the shot, and Roenick got a stick on that. Just deflected it wide. Roenick to Savard, side of the net, trying to center. Amonte took a stab at it. Now Roenick in front. And Savard had his stick held by Babbage. Canucks now bouncing back with Ronning. And Momesso dropping it off. Hennigan shot. Reaching for it was Jelena, but it was kicked out by Belfour. And the Hawks come back. Roenick and Savard crisscrossing through center. Here's Roenick dropping it back. Poulin took a bump. And the Canucks are able to get it out to center, and Jelena starts back. Ahead it goes to Ronning. Didick has him lined up, and Steve Smith will take over. Smith cross ice to Dirk Graham. And there is Denny Savard, 8th all-time on the Stanley Cup points list now. Puck cleared by McLean, out to center. Christian Ruutu feeding it ahead, and hopping in now is Pekka. Lining him up is Weinrich, puck centered. And Poulin has it for Chicago. Off Graham and down into the Vancouver zone. Kirk McLean on the tape up to Pekka. He does handle the puck well.
Frustrated defenseman. I think he passes it better than most of the Canucks defensemen.
Here's Poulin looking for Graham, who is chopping at the stick of Lume. And Pekka gets it out to center ice. Cam Russell up to Brent Sutter. Here's Poulin sending it back into the Vancouver zone. Chicago making a change. 3:15 gone, second period. 1-0 Hawks. Cullimore out to center for Russ Courtnall. Here's Ruutu on the move as Courtnall risks it in on Belfour, who takes it high and holds on.
Pavel Bure and Trevor Linden all without a shot in the first period. Russ Courtnall just had his first of the game, and the others have all had at least one here early in the second period.
They have to get more shots, and that one almost handcuffed Ed Belfour. Eye high, as you mentioned, Chris. Had the glove in front of his face, still made the grab.
Well, the Canucks had 12 shots on goal in the first period of game 1. Since then, they had 6 in the second period, 7 in the third, just 2 in overtime, and then 5 in the first period of game 2. So not going to get a lot of scoring chances on Ed Belfour unless the shot totals increase. Here's Didick flipping it high in the air. Lands softly in the Canucks zone, and icing is called as O'Coin got to it.
You fellas have talked about the difficulty the Canucks are going to have in this series penetrating the Chicago defense. John, a lot of people are saying maybe the Chicago Blackhawks have the best defense, capital D, in the NHL right now.
I think it's the deepest, Dick. You look at their big three, Chelios, Suter, and Steve Smith, and then Gerald Didick has fit in very well since coming over from Vancouver. And then the 5th and 6th guys, Cam Russell and Eric Weinrich. I think they do have the deepest 6 and probably the best 3 with Suter, Chelios, and that man, Steve Smith.
Well, as Chris mentioned, Daryl Sutter this morning saying that Weinrich and Russell he felt were his best combination in game 1. Chelios played 21 minutes with the teams at even strength. And for Chelios, that's like a walk in the park. Ice time.
From the face-off, the Hawks control it. Patrick Poulin rink wide. Dirk Graham ahead to Brent Sutter. Out for Vancouver, the two Courtnalls with Baranek at center. And Joseph Baranek comes up with the puck. Out to center ice. Pass for Russ Courtnall, broken up by Sutter. Poulin has Brent Sutter open. Here's Sutter moving in. And a nice defensive play by Dave Babbage. Not allowing the shot. Steve Smith in front of the Hawk bench, lost control of it. Now Hedican wheeling. Gets it to Baranek. Over the line, Jeff Courtnall with the shot. That's off the target. And now Denny Savard starts back with Graham. He'll leave it, and Amati moves up. Tony Amati got out of the way of a check, but lost control. Smith clearing it back in. On his own side of center, the Canucks were waiting for an icing call and now flip it out. And Roenick takes a hit from Jeff Courtnall. Back to Gary Suter. Linden on him. Now Chelios. Up to Roenick. Ahead it goes. Savard couldn't take the pass, and Amati was on the move, and now it's the other number 10, Bure, with the shot, and that sails wide. Lume trying to keep it in, and it's Chelios backhanding it ahead to Amati. Amati back to Roenick. Here's Jeremy Roenick into the zone, faking it. Cullimore went down, but blocked the pass.
There's a matter of that game timing. Cullimore down very early. Roenick lots of time to get around him and just mishandled the puck.
He's been skating hard for about 3 weeks now. Joe Murphy moving in, trying to get a shot away. Craven looking for the rebound. Bure turns. And while he looks very strong just skating with the puck, we've seen him have trouble handling it in the practice sessions of late.
You know, coaches will tell you some of their regular uninjured players haven't been skating hard for 3 weeks.
Puck at the line, and now Ronning with Bure loose. Here's Bure, and a weak shot because Gary Suter recovered. It's the first time tonight, though. Bure looks like he was ready to get in behind the Chicago defense. Off the boards for Ronning. Here's Cliff Ronning moving in. Ronning pushing it ahead. And Jelena couldn't take the pass. Ronning gets it back again, handed it to Murphy. And Joe Murphy to Gary Suter. Gary Suter's on the move, the shot, and that one deflecting high into the box seats. 6:39 gone, second period. Hawks with the lead.
Pavel Bure gets in behind the defense, but Gary Suter is on the move, and Bure has to slow down to pick up that pass. And Suter's quickness has the angle on Bure. He's able to make the play.
Canucks have outshot the Blackhawks 4-0 in this second period. Pass ahead for Momesso. He's tied up by Cummins at center, and the Hawks in a tight defensive mode. Dana Merzen flips it back out, and Weinrich skating back in his own zone. Momesso forechecking with Jelena and Ronning. Cummins on the right wing, the goal scorer, just dumps it out to center. Jelena tapping it back in, and Weinrich to Cam Russell. They were just put together by Daryl Sutter at the start of the playoffs and have gelled nicely as the third unit for Chicago. Here's Ronning moving in, drops it off, and the shot off a leg into the corner. And Cummins took a hit from Momesso and got it out to center. Just over 7.5 minutes gone, second period. Weinrich knocked that pass down. And here's Cummins on the move. Big Jim Cummins winds up, shot right on. Cummins with just 4 shots on goal. There's a funny hop, but it's offside. But Cummins with a couple of shots in this game, including the only goal so far.
Dick, our favorite subject, both goaltenders, 52 games for Ed Belfour, 65 for Kirk McLean. Both have been to the Stanley Cup Finals, and neither one has their name on the cup yet.
And only 21 shots total for them to handle tonight so far. That shot by Cummins here a minute ago. The first one by Chicago here in the second period came at 7:45.
Mike Mike Pekka is out on the ice with Christian Ruutu and Tim Hunter for Vancouver. And the veteran Hunter to center, clearing it in. Ruutu being held up by Dirk Graham. Belfour out of the net. Likes to wander at times. Graham around the boards, and now Bure's out. Pavel Bure trying to drop it back. So Hunter was out and then went to the bench to get Bure on the ice. Brent Sutter tying it up, trying to get a whistle, but it comes loose and Bure flips it into the corner. Big Cam Russell around the boards. Hedican at the point, clearing it back in. It hit Russell, and now Bure. At the point, Babbitt just shot it into the corner. Pekka going after it there against Weinrich. And the Hawks are able to get it out to center ice. Dirk Graham to Brent Sutter, and he just backhands it in, and the Hawks will make a change. Puck cleared ahead, and it's Babbitt. Cross ice, off the skate of Bure. And when the Hawks got the chance, they got Suter and Chelios back out with Bure on the ice and icing the call against Chicago.
We saw Kirk McLean in the first period get scored on when he was trying to overhandle the puck in his crease. Ed Belfour almost gets trapped by Christian Ruutu in the corner. Belfour is a very confident puck handler, gets out, handles it, waits, and Ruutu, unfortunately, doesn't get the stick. When he chopped down, he got more ice than he did stick. He could have knocked the stick right out of Belfour's hand. Pavel Bure took Tim Hunter's spot, as you mentioned, Chris. Rick Lee trying to get him away from Suter and Chelios, and this time Cam Russell gives him a little shot, and they haven't really let Pavel Bure have any room to operate.
From the face-off, Cullimore trying to keep it in for the Canucks. Now Suter off the boards and out to center. And the former Peterborough Pete, Cullimore, clears it back in. Suter and Chelios with the Nichols line up front for Chicago. Baranek and the Courtnalls for the Canucks. Chelios back in his own zone, and 10.5 minutes to go here in the second period. 1-0 Hawks as the fans come to life, and Craven one-time that into the corner. Murphy looking for Craven, centering it off a skate. Cleared away by the Canucks. Kept in by Suter, and now Canucks will break out Jeff Courtnall. Baranek loose on the right side. Courtnall to Baranek off his skate and wide. And Chris Chelios turns. Up ahead to Bernie Nichols. Nichols to the line, can't get by Lume. And Kirk McLean stick handles, almost lost to Nichols. Russ Courtnall back for Vancouver. Here's Courtnall dropping it off. Jeff Courtnall shot right on, and Belfour not allowing any rebounds so far in this series.
And a little bit of emotion, something we haven't seen too much of in this series. Jeff Courtnall pushing at Bernie Nichols. And Paul Stewart now has words with Courtnall. One more punch and you'll be gone. Jeff Courtnall has the puck, and the speed of Gary Suter. It's a 2-on-1, but there's number 20, Gary Suter, getting back just in time to make the defensive play on Joseph Baranek. We saw Ed Belfour almost get trapped. Here's Kirk McLean, and again, that communication. Somebody has to tell him that there's a player there. It's Bernie Nichols, and he almost stripped Kirk McLean of the puck.
Seeing these goaltenders act this way, I saw a great picture this morning in the offices here of the Blackhawks of Charlie Gardner, who was their goaltender back in the late 20s and 30s. He was born in Scotland, raised in Winnipeg, but he was one of the first to wander out of his net, play the puck a bit. They called him the Wandering Scot. It was unusual in that time for a goalie to do that.
Weinrich from the face-off, just got it outside the line, and here's Denny Savard gloving it down, and he'll be on the move with Roenick, who's in offside, and Roenick takes a tumble.
We saw Jeremy Roenick before the game, or at least just before the face-off, and they were warming up, doing bending and stretching, and the leg up on the boards, and you thought, John, he looks pretty good, given the knees, pretty good work over. Now here's some pushing and shoving after the fact. Denny Savard took a bit of a shot from Linden, and Chelios steps in.
Adrian O'Coy knocked Jeremy Roenick down. Roenick was offside, and again, the timing thing. The power play, Chris, you talked about the #1 power play unit. Well, they built up a cushion with Roenick in the lineup and then sunk down to the 15.9%. And almost more than a goal a game less without Jeremy Roenick. They went in that slump where they went 13 games without a win. And they just couldn't score. Eddie Belfour's average stayed almost the same as it was all season long, but their goals for went down so much that they couldn't win a game.
Those numbers you saw included the playoff games. The first 8 without Roenick. But even without Roenick, the Hawks didn't lose much defensively. They were airtight even during that 13-game winless streak. We've got a penalty coming up as Paul Stewart has whistled play down.
Interference penalty coming up against the Chicago Blackhawks. Jeremy Roenick's going to get his name on the scoring summary.
Everybody keeps looking. Is it you? Is it me? Roenick gets his second penalty of the game. And here it is right there as he puts Ojek down. Ojek pays his compliments in return, but he goes unscathed, and now the Canucks have got to get something going offensively. They just haven't had much of it. Mind you, neither of the Blackhawks here in this second period.
Butt end of the stick out for Roenick as he hooked up Gino Ojek, held him up and took the interference penalty.
And so Trevor Linden, Cliff Ronning, Jeff Courtnall with Bure and Lume on the points. Ronning sending it into the corner. Courtnall after it against Chelios, comes up with the puck to Ronning. Ronning sends it toward the net off the skate of Steve Smith. Lume in for the captain. Linden back to Lume. There's Courtnall parked in a high shot. Rings the glass and comes out to center ice. 9 minutes left, second period. Second power play of the game for Vancouver. And here's Ronning ahead to Lume. Lume walking in, and the shot goes off Chelios to the corner. Dirk Graham's now out killing the penalty. He lost control. It's pushed to the line and out to center. Lume firing it over to Pavel Bure. Bure sliding it through. Nice pass. Courtnall back out to Lume. Now here's Bure. Shot, scores! What a shot by Pavel Bure. Power play goal.
Wait a minute. No goal.
Man in the crease. Paul Stewart shaking his head.
Boy, we're getting a lot of this in the playoffs.
And Paul Stewart's showing how much Trevor Linden was in the crease. The shot from Bure. Can we see Linden? Yes, he's in the crease, but boy, that's close.
Not according to Stewart, it wasn't close. Well, he had the arms extended.
Steve Smith went down to block that shot. And when it went over Steve Smith, Ed Belfour had no chance. It went high into the net. Bure tees it up. Steve Smith goes down. Belfour can't see it. Linden was in the crease and backing out as that shot went by Belfour. And Paul Stewart waves it off. Our overhead look. Trevor Linden, his left foot is in the crease, and that's called by Paul Stewart.
Don't adjust your set, folks. That's the fuzzy overhead camera. Because it is in that condition right now here in Chicago. That's why it was not used in that controversial Vancouver goal in the first game.
Boy, I know you like to see the goaltenders protected, but
play like that, he didn't interfere with Belfour.
Still on the power play. Lume took the shot wide. 50 seconds left in the man advantage as Linden winds up. Blocked by Craven. Linden another chance. Nichols down. Here's Ronning in front. Lume. They whack at it. And Belfour stops Jeff Courtnall. Meantime, scoring in Detroit. And with a Stanley Cup update, here's Ron McLean.
Thanks, Chris. You're going to be shocked. It's the San Jose goal. They finally break through their first at Joe Louis Arena this year. There's Mike Rafferty, the 14th shot of the game. Mike Vernon shutout string, 106 minutes and 8 seconds. Lariana draws 1 assist, and now it's a 5-goal cushion for the Red Wings.
The broken stick on the ice is Eric Weinrich's stick. Lume has the chance, and then Jeff Courtnall on the rebound. Weinrich doesn't have a stick. So the Hawks are basically playing a 5-on-3. It comes over to Lume. Belfour's in good position and blocks the shot. and then is in position again to block the rebound shot from Jeff Gordon.
Before San Jose scored that goal, they had played over 11 periods at the Joe Louis Arena this year, 1995, and had been outscored 21-0 until that goal that Ron just showed you.
39 seconds left in the man advantage for Vancouver. Russ Courtnall now out. Dropping it back to Lume. Cross ice it goes. Return pass to Lume. There's Courtnall, Baranek, and Momesso also out on the front line. Bure being hounded by Dirk Graham. Drops it off to Baranek. Back into Bure. 15 seconds left now. Courtnall looking for Bure. Back it comes to Courtnall on the perimeter. And Russ Courtnall tied up. Allows the Hawks to clear it. Brent Sutter sends it down. Penalty over. And Jeremy Roenick back on the ice. 7:20 to go. Second period. It's still 1-0 Chicago. Russ Courtnall takes the pass at center. Sending it in on Belfour. He'll head to the bench. And Belfour holding on for a face-off. So the Canucks with a disallowed goal and some chances on Eddie Belfour. Well, we mentioned the first step was to get more shots on goal. The Canucks have done that, but they haven't been able to hit the twine yet. At least not one that Paul Stewart has allowed.
Chicago with just one shot in this second period.
And that by Jim Cummins.
We're talking about the big guns in Vancouver not coming through. How about the Blackhawks? Canucks doing a good job on them. So Jeremy Roenick hasn't added much to the offense so far anyway.
6:44 to go here in the second period. Edeken bumped by Roenick. Causes the turnover. Denny Savard in the corner. And now it's spun back out to the line, and Christian Ruutu takes over for Vancouver. Ruutu pass for Pekka. Didn't see it coming. And the Hawks almost had a break. Dave Babich is back. Teammates on him today as he celebrates his 34th birthday. Somebody wrote happy 47th on the board in the Vancouver dressing room this morning. Pekka takes a hit. And he goes down with Suter. Roenick up with the puck. Roenick past Merzen. And Roenick goes down at center ice. Here's Merzen back in for Vancouver. After the puck, Gino Ojic taken to the boards by Suter. Pavel Bure picks it up. Comes back near the point, and Joe Murphy cut it off before Merzen could get to it. And clears out to center. Murray Craven tied up by O'Coin. Murphy cut off by Linden, and now out it comes on the left side for Merzen. He'll send it in. Bouncing puck past Belfour and Eric Weinrich. +7 in the playoffs. Ahead to Craven too far.
We don't want to use that trap word, but we're seeing some of that trap here in the second period. Colin Campbell called it delayed forechecking. Roger Nielsen was calling it neutral zone entanglement, but I think it's just a trap.
And here's Bernie Nichols. Can't work it out in front. Daze moves up. He couldn't control it. And Jyrki Lume out to center for Bure. Pavel Bure working against Steve Smith. Down he goes. Ojic clears to the corner. Linden looking to center it. And Smith is there for Chicago. Tight to the vest either side here in this second period. And cleared back out to center. Smith cleared it in, but Jim Cummins was trapped offside. 4:31 to go. Second period.
Jeremy Roenick is wearing a custom-fitted brace, and that's why the medical staff of the Chicago Blackhawks feels pretty safe about him playing after 7 weeks of rehab. There, a shot on the knee from Dana Merzen as Roenick had him beaten down. No damage done. The spinorama right to the bench. He looks winded more than anything else with quick shifts of Jeremy Roenick. You can ride the bike as much as you want, but when you get into the game, you have the pressure, you have the hitting. There's nothing like it.
Say he's wearing a brace. Last week he was wearing a parachute during many of the workouts, trying to increase the drag while he was using his skating. during practice to try and get back into shape, but tough to catch up after missing 7 weeks.
New meaning to pulling the chute.
You know, when he was first injured, some people said he might not start next season. It's been a remarkable recovery.
The most misdiagnosed injury, perhaps, in recent hockey history. First, it was the torn anterior cruciate. Then they said it was a broken leg. It's now determined that it was a deep bruise and a hyperextension. And that's why he's back so soon. Ronning clearing it in. Jelena goes after it, and Dirk Graham all over him. Well, these Hawks play team defense near perfectly. Now Brent Sutter to the line. He clears it in. Dirk Graham's first man after it there. He's double teamed. Baranek cleared it up the boards, but Suter pounds it in on McLean. Now Patrick Poulin has it, and it hopped over his stick. Momesso over to Jelena. Hedekins moved up, missed the pass. Cleared up for Graham. Here's Dirk Graham with a long shot right on. Graham in the corner, back to Chris Chelios. He puts it in behind the net. Baranek giving chase. Hawks with just 3 shots on goal in this second period, and you saw 2 on this last flurry. And 2:45 to go here in the second. Still 1-0 Chicago on a goal by Jim Cummins late in period 1. Here's Joe Murphy loose. Murphy long shot right on. Murphy the leading shot man for Chicago in the playoffs, testing Kirk McLean.
There's no better place than Canadian Tire for quality brake and exhaust work guaranteed. Here's proof. We'll beat any competitor's quote by 10%.
More Stanley Cup action from Joe Louis Arena, Detroit. Scotty Bowman's fuming on the bench. The Sharks have scored again, this time Ulf Dahlin from Jeff Friesen and Jason Moore. 6-2 with 8.5 minutes to play in Detroit.
Coach has to have something to be angry about.
San Jose setting the trap, letting in the first 6 and trying the comeback.
Here's Lume working his way out to center ice. Jyrke Lume in the zone on the backhand. And Chelios with the check, and now Murphy skates out. Here's Joe Murphy. Gary Suter trying to make it a 2-on-1, and the shot on Kirk McLean, who covers the rebound.
A lot of shots here by Chicago all of a sudden. They were flirting with a team record. They have never had as few as 1 shot on goal in 1 period in the playoffs on home ice. Took them 17 minutes to get their second. Since then, they've had about 4 more.
Bernie Nichols picked Trevor Linden, and that allowed Gary Suter time and room to make it a 2-on-1, but Murphy didn't spot him. Murphy looks back, sees Nichols, but doesn't see Suter. So he takes the shot, tries to beat McLean, but again, Kirk McLean out, cutting down the angle, perfect position, and that time controlled the rebound.
Well, Joe Murphy's been hot. And the last time he played the Canucks in a playoff series, he was hot 3 years ago with the Oilers. He had 11 points, 5 goals, 6 assists in a 6-game series against Vancouver, playing on a line with Bernie Nichols and Vincent Damphousse. Under 2 minutes to go here in the second period. Linden with a long shoot in. And Suter just flips it back down the ice. And the Canucks shoot it in, but you can see all the Hawks lining up, stopping the Canucks from skating in after it. Here's Bure trying his luck, but he can't crash through. Linden took his man down as the Hawks clear it down the ice. Christian Ruutu lined up by Craven. And the Canucks having a lot of trouble cracking this tight Chicago defense. Now Roenick turning at center ice with Savard. Craven headed to the bench, just cleared it in. Roenick dancing in after it. Lume sending it up the boards and out to center ice. Amati in a skate, and the pass goes to Jeff Courtnall. Under a minute to go as Courtnall is taken to the boards. Here's Russ Courtnall centering it. Baranek with the shot. Rebound, and Belfour down. Let out a rare rebound, and the Canucks come close to capitalizing. Now Jeff Courtnall sends it cross ice. That's cut off, and here comes Denny Savard. Points in his last 3 games. Savard gets it to Joe Murphy, and he wasn't able to get the shot on. Vancouver sending it down the ice. Steve Smith back to get it ahead of Russ Courtnall. And icing the call, 27.4 seconds left, second period.
Looked like it was Ed Belfour, John, who woke the crowd up here with that bang-bang play that saved it on the short side by the post.
High shot by Baranek, and Belfour has trouble. It's off his chest, it's over his shoulder, but he gets the right leg down. You talk to the people around the Hawks, and they say the best athlete on the team is their goaltender, Ed Belfour. And this is an athletic move. He can't find it. It's a good extension of the right leg, and he makes the save.
Were you ever considered the best athlete on your team? As a matter of fact, are you considered the best athlete on our team right now? Hockey Night in Canada.
Well, Scott Russell's not here now, so maybe I am. Richard Brodeur and I, we were challenging for the best athletes on the Vancouver Canucks. No.
Now he was down riding the bike earlier today, Dick. I'll vote for him.
He took over after I was finished.
But there are no triathletes like Ed Belfour in this booth. Dying seconds of this second period. Here's Bernie Nichols, and he's knocked down as he tried to get around Babbage. And Chelios is going to be able to kill the clock. So chances few and far between in this second period. No scoring in the middle frame, so after 40 minutes, Ed Belfour and the Hawks have a 1-0 lead over the Vancouver Canucks.
Tonight on After 40 Minutes, the defending Stanley Cup champions went to Philadelphia looking to be even after a pair of games. They were even for 2 games after 60 minutes, but unfortunately for them, Eric Desjardins and Kevin Haller jump into the play and score big goals for the Flyers. 2 overtime victories. The New York Rangers head back to the Big Apple, dejectedly down 2 games to none. Joining me now from Rye, New York is head coach Coley Campbell. Coley, first of all, what did you do today?
Well, we actually had an optional today, Ron. We bussed back from Philly last night, and of course we did some tape watching, and our players come in for treatment, and we had maybe 14 guys go on the ice, and you discuss all the alternatives and options you have after 2 games, and sometimes you, well, most of the times coaches over-discuss it, and when you lose, your thoughts are always different than when you win, regardless of how it happens. The main focus obviously is on the win or the loss, and we look at changes we may make or may not make today.
2 areas you were concerned about. One is Mike, especially in Game 1, with a lack of concentration there. Have you made a decision on whether to go to Glenn, or do you want to try and keep Mike as the #1 guy in this series?
We haven't decided yet. We're still looking at it today. Again, that's been kind of a discussion, ongoing discussion during the playoffs, and that happened the last 10 games of the season. Probably because Glenn Healy has come in and played well for us. And you always wonder that and consider that aspect of it, particularly with him shutting out Philadelphia the last game of the season, or the last game that counted for us, that put us in the playoffs. And of course, Mike Richter's capable of playing well, and he has played well at times, and probably not as well as he played last year, and he played great last year. So those 2 factors are always in play, and we haven't decided yet.
You spoke a little bit about matching lines, trying to get your best maybe away from their best. Is that what you meant? Were you talking about getting Verbeek, Graves, and Messier away from their Legion of Doom?
Well, we thought about that in the beginning of the series, or before the series started, but I thought Mark has done a good job with Eric, and it's been an enjoyable thing to watch, I guess, for maybe for a fan at home. I've been interested in watching the confrontation, and Mark, at his age and his health, a guy who's played so much, is doing a pretty good job with a young stud like that. But I think the matchup is pretty good. Our power play has been excellent. Our penalty killing has been excellent. The only problem is there's been a lot of power play and penalty killing is what's tiring out our key guys like Mark and Adam and Brian and Bookaboo and Zubov. So we've probably been killing too many penalties, and late in the games that's hurt us as far as being fresh. And I don't think I've heard your guys talk about how much ice guys like Chelios has put in, and a guy like Lindros, a forward, is playing over 30 minutes. So he's a horse of a guy when it comes to ice time, so it's tough to put just one line against him.
You know, they're young and they're hungry, and those were back-to-back games, so that had to factor in a bit. Last year you had tapes of the ticker tape parades from the old days at the start of the year, and you were building highlight packs even in the playoffs, Goalie. Have you got any special plans to try and recreate maybe the spark or the hunger in your team now down 2?
Well, we're looking at that today, too. Obviously, at this point in the playoffs and after the season's over, technically, hopefully, you've got everything solved, or you think you do. And you're at the motivational point right now where you want to try and spur your guys to greater things. And we're not really down and out yet, even though you're down 2-0. It was they were pretty good games, and we could have won them. We could have pulled away in both games when they were 2-goal differences. We didn't, and now we're looking at getting the edge somehow, some way, and I'm sure coming home will help us. And our guys were pretty confident after the game, even though it's tough to lose 2 games in 24 hours, both by in overtime.
Well, that's always been your trademark. You do find a way, and you're bang on when you say it's great to watch. Good luck in Game 3 tomorrow night.
Thanks very much, Ron.
Welcome back with a score 6-2 in Detroit. A fan threw this shark on the ice with a fork through it, but the fan's confused. Pronger's not a shark, he's a whaler. Let's go to Joe Louis Arena for the closing minutes. Here's Ken Daniels.
Oh, how do I top that, Ron? I'm not really sure. The closing seconds here, Joe Louis Arena, complete domination by the Detroit Red Wings, scoring 4 in the first on 21 shots. Mike Vernon's shutout string finally broken in the third period. A couple of power play goals from Mike Rathje, his 4th in the power play, 4th overall these playoffs. Then Ulf Dahlin got one. That made the score somewhat respectable, 6-2, but the final shots on goal, 46-17 in favor of the Red Wings, and believe me, that was indicative of the way this game went. 6-2 final. Now back to Ron McLean.
Thanks a lot, Ken. So the Red Wings go to San Jose up 2. It's 1-0 Chicago. We'll have more on Molson Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC. Back at the Broadcast Center in Toronto, Ron McLean with Greg Millen, and it's still 1-0 Chicago. Vancouver just can't seem to get a break.
No, they sure can't. I mean, they had a good chance, a good power play going, and the goal was called back, and that would have made a big difference in this hockey game.
If you're just tuning in, Trevor Linden, who got a video replay his way the other day, and they don't, by the way, review in the crease. Here it is. Paul Stewart makes the call that Trevor pirouettes, and I guess his foot, I don't like the fact that it's in the air. I think that's what makes this such a tough call.
Well, the Canucks were really upset, and I don't blame them. I mean, yes, he was in the crease in terms of his one foot was in the air in the crease, but you know, normally they'd let this kind of thing go, and they didn't here, and you know what? That's going to make a big difference in this hockey game.
Technically speaking, though, in favor of Paul Stewart, it's the right call because the crease does extend to that 4-foot area, and Trevor was there. Now, Vancouver has rebounded a couple of times after losing Game 1 against St. Louis. They did it in the first round against Toronto a year ago. They lost an OT at Maple Leaf Gardens, won 4 straight. Can they come back, and if so, how do they do it here?
Well, John Garrett is saying it is the trap, and that's exactly what they're seeing is the trap, and somehow they're going to have to get through the trap and get some chances to score, something they haven't done the first 2 games so far, and you know what? It's a very tough thing to do, and boy, does it ever make for boring hockey, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not the Rangers Flyers so far, but it's a good grinders game, and Vancouver's still just 1 goal shy of sending this one to overtime. We'll have more on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC in a moment.
With me now, the Canucks' Russ Courtnall. Russ, what are the Hawks doing so well to shut down the Canucks offense?
Well, they've got some pretty good defensemen back there. They have a third guy that's always back as a forward, the high forward, and so they've always got 3 men to beat at the blue line. And when you do dump it in, there's a lot of holding, hooking, you know, to hold up the forecheckers. So it's tough to go in and contain them. So we're trying to work through that and get some more shots. We're getting shots from the outside, and we need to get those second and third shots to beat Belfour.
Seems to me that the intensity, the emotion that was so obvious in the St. Louis series is missing here. Is that because of the fatigue or perhaps the way the Hawks are playing it?
Well, I think both teams came off real, you know, emotional series with both clubs, and we started to hate each other right away, and we're not seeing that yet. And I think, you know, maybe with the way that we played against St. Louis, we haven't been able to contain them in their zone and get the hits that we want to get, and maybe that's the reason. I don't know.
That interview taped moments ago. Canucks will try to turn up the emotional intensity, but there's Murphy with the first test of this third period. 1-0 Chicago with the lead as Linden moves in. Bure swiping at the puck and now regaining control of it at center ice. Bure lost his balance, and it's the rookie O'Coin on the move. Check that, Dana Merzen moving in. Linden was dumped. Merzen and Chelios go to the board, so do Nichols. And Gino Ojic can play whistled down, 44 seconds in.
Murray Craven out against Pavel Bure, and Gino Ojic back from a 2-game suspension, playing on the line with Bure. Dana Merzen takes it in on Chelios. And one of the things the Canucks want to do, and Russ Courtnall talked about it with Steve, is get some hits. And here's Gino Ojic coming in, takes Bernie Nichols in on top of Chris Chelios.
Well, the only goal in this game came in the first period. Jim Cummins' first ever Stanley Cup goal from Shanson Daze. Hawks outshot the Canucks 11-5. But in the second period, the Canucks turned it around yet 4 periods in a row where they've been held under 10 shots, 9-5 the shots. In that second period, they had 2 from Courtnall, 2 from Russ Courtnall, 2 from Jeff Courtnall. Bure and Linden also with a shot each, but still 1-0 Chicago. Vinny Savard lost possession of it, and it's hit with a high stick. Play whistled down exactly 1 minute into the third period.
There was a good example of the defense that Russ Courtnall was talking about. That puck's chipped out, and there's 4 Hawks back against 2 Vancouver Canucks on the rush. And that's the way it's been for most of the night. The neutral zone trap, and Russ Courtnall talked about the 1 forward high. Well, most of the time, the Hawks have 2 forwards back, and the delayed forecheck by 1 man.
Veteran Dave Babbitt playing it ahead, and now it's Cliff Ronning at center ice, leaving it for the speedy Courtnall's moving in. Diddick has him lined up, and there's a deflection off the stick of Momesso right on to Ed Belfour.
And we get a little bit of a scrum after the whistle for the second time here in this period. And maybe, John, like you say, they've got to start stirring things up physically a little bit, Vancouver.
Good coverage by the Hawks, and it's a one-handed tip. Amonte's got Sergio Momesso all tied up, and an easy save by Ed Belfour. The ice time of Jeremy Roenick, 9:30. Short shifts, and the only problem he's had is he's just been tired. Pavel Bure at 15:39.
Well, you remember the Joe Theismann interview? They used to replay in the NFL. Well, here's the Jeremy Roenick interview. Darian Hatcher, and that's when everybody said, or right after, he's gone for this year, maybe part of next. And here he is 7 weeks later in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Steve Smith steps over the red line, bouncing it in, and Brett Hedican behind the Canuck net will set it up. Russ Courtnall now on a line with Ronning and Momesso, as Rick Lee has changed the combinations tonight, looking for an offensive spark. Now Steve Smith to Graham, and Patrick Poulin sends it rink wide, and Diddick will have to turn back. Jeff Courtnall's on the ice now with Martin Jelena firing it right on. Rebound cleared. Baranek keeps it in for Vancouver. Floats it in, and Jeff Courtnall took a whack at it, and Ed Belfour's going to slow it right down.
That all started with a giveaway by Gerald Diddick along the boards. He tried to clear the zone, and he shot it off his own player, and the Canucks took advantage. Martin Jelena had a chance. Jeff Courtnall gets it to Jelena on the turnover. It went off Patrick Poulin, and Jelena has a chance. Here's an example. The Blackhawks, 1 man in, both wingers high, pick up the wingers, no pressure, lots of time. Everybody's got a man. Patrick Poulin comes back, the other wingers high. It's a 2-on-4, and the Hawks have played that way for most of the night.
Baranek on this face-off. And it comes back to the line. There's a shot, change direction, ended up in the corner. Jelena chopping at it. Cam Russell landed on top of him. And out at center ice, it's Jeff Courtnall handing it off to Lume. Heck has lost his stick, couldn't field that pass. And Cam Russell off the boards, ahead to Jeff Shantz. stood up in front of the Canuck bench, kicked at it. And now Pekka, the former Ottawa junior, flipped it. That hit somebody. Cross ice it comes to Baranek. And offside is the call.
You know, it's a tough league for coaches. They come, they go, they don't stay very long. In the last 5 years, 10 coaches have been in the Stanley Cup Finals. And yet, of those 10, only 2 are still with the teams they coached in the finals. For 20 points on our 3-ring scoreboard, folks. Who are they? Well, one of them is in Dallas, Texas, Bob Gainey, who was with Minnesota. Same team, different city. And Jacques Demers, who won the Stanley Cup for the Canadiens 2 years ago. Everybody else who reached that pinnacle, as we like to call it, the Stanley Cup Finals, gone somewhere else.
Well, Pat Quinn just moved himself upstairs, right. But yeah, Barry Melrose, the most recent one. What have you done for me lately?
And Pat Quinn, here's Murray Craven moving in around Merson, who trips him up. Craven crashing into the boards, no call. And now play whistled down as Craven slow to get up. But there will not be a penalty called. Craven.
Murray Craven has to sit out the start of this shift anyway because he was the one that they blew the whistle for. Dana Merson hooks Craven. He's beaten on the play. Merson looks right over at Paul Stewart. He thinks he's going to be gone, but there was no penalty call, and Murray Craven's all right. He wanted to get right back out there, but because the whistle was for his injury, he has to start the shift at least on the bench.
And so Brent Sutter's out with Dirk Graham and Patrick Poulin. Chelios off the boards, sends it down the ice. Just wanted to finish the thought on Pat Quinn. He spent some of the intermission in the booth beside us with Dave Newell talking about the disallowed goal. And Newell told me that the right call was made and reminded us of the disallowed goal on Joe Murphy in Game 1, which also led to a penalty, but Murphy made contact. And that's why the penalty was called in that case and not in the Linden situation.
And Ron McLean said technically Trevor Linden was in the crease and Paul Stewart made the right call, and that, according to the rule book, is the right call, but the rule book is so vague in some areas, and in other areas it's very specific. In that one, don't see it called that often when the player doesn't impede the goaltender, and Trevor Linden definitely on that play did not in any way bother Ed Belfour.
Here's Murphy, lost his balance, and Sergio Momesso ahead to Ronning. At center ice, flipping it in on Belfour. 16-16 left in the third period. It's a 1-goal game. The Jim Cummins goal standing up so far. Craven's back out there. Pass hopped over the stick of Murphy. And Russ Courtnall winding up behind his net, flipping it. Murphy got a glove on it, but it does go to Canuck players, Ronning and Momesso. They send it in off the glove of Belfour. It's back to the point. Babbage lets it go, and that's high. Gerald Diddick out to center ice. Here's Brett Hedican to Russ Courtnall, and Nichols knocks him down. Hedican sends it back into the Chicago zone. Momesso forechecking, and Momesso causes the turnover. Courtnall in front, can't get a stick on it. Here's Jyrke Lume, and his shot. Karam's wide of the net. Courtnall centering it, and Bernie Nichols is there. Murray Craven slowly out to center. This line for Chicago wants a change. They head to the bench, and Ronning turns back. Ronning sends it in, and now Jeff Courtnall will forecheck against Cam Russell. The native of Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia. Russell carries it out to center, feeding it ahead for Amonte. Amonte giving chase, but the Canucks get there first, so icing's the call against Chicago. Face-off in the Hawk zone, and Jeff Courtnall from the face-off backhands it into the corner. He was jostling with Weinrich as the Canucks try to apply the pressure. Here's a chance. Belfour down and makes the stop on Baranek. Baranek takes Courtnall into the boards, and Russell tries to chip it out. He's knocked down, and it does slide out past the blue line underneath Denny Savard, and a glove pass call.
Boy, I get the feeling, John, that if the Canucks get one, they're going to get two a lot quicker than it's taken the Blackhawks to get their second one. Much better start to this period for Vancouver.
Much more aggressive right from the face-off. They had a chance, and then this backhand chance by Baranek. He can't get it up high enough. Belfour's down early, makes the original save, and then strong along the ice. Denny Savard coming back defensively. Like the Blackhawks do, they've been in trouble very few times, but here in the third period, the Canucks have had more chances and better chances than they had in the previous two.
Jerry Gauthier doing a little ice repair in the 4 Vancouver wins so far in these playoffs, 22 goals. And in their 4 losses, they mustered only 6 goals tonight.
The ice here in the United Center is almost as bad as it was at the Keel Center in St. Louis for the last round the Canucks played in. You watch them in the morning skate, and 5 minutes into their practice, the pucks are bouncing all over, and it's pretty hard to make any good plays.
Can only add to the Canucks' woes here in this third period as they try to get on the board. Here's Baranek in front, and Belfour sprawling as Jeff Courtnall knocked it wide. Pellamore's moved up. He's double teamed, and the Hawks come up with it. Vancouver coming close in this third, and now a 2-on-1. Graham, Poulin scores!
Canucks have a 2-on-1. Joseph Baranek, but Brent Sutter comes back. Good defensively, takes his man. And the Hawks turn it into a 2-on-1 going the other way. Dirk Graham, the perfect pass, gets by Jyrki Lumme. Lumme gambled, lost, and then Poulin with a high shot over Kirk McLean. Lumme comes across, guesses pass, but misses it. Poulin's all by himself, snaps it up and over Kirk McLean.
Chris, you saw Poulin in the Toronto series, and he was getting chances and chances. And Felix kept stoning him. He made no mistake that time.
Could not buy a goal from games 2 through 6, despite some of the best chances in the series. But now Patrick Poulin has goals in 2 of the last 3 games, and the Hawks have a 2-0 lead. Graham and Russell get the assists on the goal at 5:48. Poulin with 3 now in the playoffs.
Nice pass from Dirk Graham to Patrick Poulin. He waited until Lumme turned, waits till Lumme commits, and then just slides it to Patrick Poulin. Poulin head up all the way, picks his spot, and snaps it by Kirk McLean.
Patrick Poulin, once upon a time, was 9th overall in the draft, picked by the Hartford Whalers. And perhaps gave up on him a little too early.
One of the knocks on Patrick Poulin in Hartford was that he didn't keep himself in very good shape, and that's one thing you know. With Daryl Sutter as your head coach, you're going to be in good shape.
Second shot of this third period for Chicago results in their second goal as the puck chopped over the glass out of play.
I'm with you, John, on that one. He didn't get an assist, I don't think, on the official call, but Brent Sutter started that play by coming back, never quit skating, never gave up, and got to his man right at the edge of the goal crease.
A perfect read by Brent Sutter, too. There was no doubt in his mind who was a danger man. That was Jeff Courtnall. And he came back, took Courtnall, and Courtnall never even had a shot on goal on that 2-on-1.
So many of these former offensive stars have become great defensively. We've talked about Bernie Nichols, Denny Savard. I think some people forget Brent Sutter was once a 102-point man.
How about Dirk Graham in the minors? 70 goals a couple of years.
Now Trevor Linden. Canucks looking for a goal, looking for a spark. Graham plays it to Gary Suter. Wojcik crashing into him. Suter got his glove on the puck. Somehow got it to Chelios, and off the boards out to center ice. Graham was dumped at the Hawk blue line. Fans react. The play continues. Now Linden after it against Suter. Puck cleared behind the net. And it's Chelios. Bure is there. Around the boards it goes. Momesso up on a line with Linden and Bure. And the Hawks knock it out to center. Merzen cleared it back in. 7 minutes gone. Third period, 2-0 Chicago. Cummins in the first, Poulin here in the third. Brett Hedican. His pass at center ice failed to click, and now Gary Suter flips it back out. Babbage watched by Savard. Momesso to Ronning. There's a shot high. Jeremy Roenick plays it off the backboards to Amante. A lead pass for Savard, broken up, but now it's Roenick on the move. Here's Roenick moving into the zone. Tried to get it to the point. It comes outside the line for Dinnick. Now it's Dave Babbage. Here's the veteran Babbage colliding with Steve Smith. And Denny Savard. Out on the right side, Joe Murphy's on the move against Hedican. And the shot goes off the skate of Hedican to the corner. Smith moving it behind the net for Murphy. Tied up by Babbage. Bernie Nichols in to help out, and Hedican knocks him off stride. Murphy a tough man to move off the puck. Babbage has a hold on him. Murphy goes down. And now Nichols moves after it. Look at Murphy, stay with it though. Now Bernie Nichols. In the slot it goes, and Ronning picks up the loose puck and flips it in the air.
Dave Babbage with the left hook on Joe Murphy, and Paul Stewart chose to ignore that one.
8.5 minutes gone, third period. Craven moving in, wrist shot, blocker saved by Kirk McLean. Murphy missed it, and now Pekka starts back. Here come the Canucks. Cullimore trying to move up on the play, missed the pass. Now it's out on left wing to Craven, and he'll flip it in deep. And Brent Sutter right back out there. Cleared out to center ice, and Cam Russell ahead to Dirk Graham. This is the line that has given the Hawks a 2-goal cushion, but it's Jelena moving back. Rolling it in, but the Hawks really hold up the forecheck. Weinrich to Graham. Off the boards to Patrick Poulin. And out to center and down the ice. Lume will get there ahead of Brent Sutter. And icing is the call against Chicago with 10:36 to go.
He's just putting his equipment back on, his helmet, after this left hook from Dave Babbage. Around comes Babbage. Murphy tried to draw the penalty. Made it look like it was a little harder punch than it was. They didn't get the call. Jeremy Roenick has had some problems handling the puck, but he's been a physical presence. He is so quick, and he likes to hit. There's a good solid check on Russ Courtnall.
Face off to Ed Belfour's right. And Linden on this drop against the veteran Brent Sutter. And the Hawks get control to Chelios. Linden with Ojik and Bure. Dirk Graham ahead to Poulin and Brent Sutter. Hedican back in his own zone. Winding up. Good skating defenseman gets it ahead, and here's Linden with a little room at center. Trevor Linden dropping it off. Ojik couldn't reach it. Bure follows up. Sutter takes a hit from Ojik. Here's Linden along the boards. He can't get control, and Graham will start back. Gets to center, clears it in, heads to the bench, and Graham and Ojik got tied up as they both were going off.
Ojik did all the tying, Chris. He went after Graham after the shoot-in.
Now Babbage working in, stick check by Smith. In deep, Trevor Linden behind the net. Looking for it against Denny Savard. Linden comes up with it. Gerald Dinnick on him. It comes back to Babbage. His shot hits Savard. And the Canucks can't keep it in. Now Babbage sends it in. He heads to the bench. Under 9.5 minutes left, third period. 2-0 Chicago as they try to take a 2-0 lead in this series. Roenick going after it, crashing into his man. And the Canucks up with it. Ronning sends it right wing to Courtnall. Trying to get around Denny Savard. Can't do it. Steve Smith right through the goal mouth. Murphy's hit. And Smith regains control. Just dumps it out at center. And the Hawks will make another change. Jyrke Lume. His pass broken up, and Russell will send it back in.
I'm waiting for Kirk McLean to join the rush here and create some offense for the Canucks. Maybe he can jump up into the play.
Might be one of the rare odd man situations for the Canucks tonight. They ring it around the glass, and Momesso's after it. Ronning looking for the loose puck, but Nichols is up with it. Murray Craven, and off the boards out to center. Brett Hedican turned back by Craven. Now Jelena will try. Into Baranek. Jeff Courtnall out in front. The pass didn't get there. Craven out on the right side to Murphy. And the Hawks keeping their shifts very short right now. Quick turnover as they send it down the ice. Jelena fires it back in. Chelios to Poulin. And just out to center. Fans whistling here in Chicago. I'm not sure if that's in support or if they're even getting on the Hawks for this cautious play. Jelena now, Rick wide. Here's Jeff Courtnall offside. 7:43 to go. The shot's 19-17 Chicago, and they have the lead.
Despite Brian Leach's hat trick last night, the defending Stanley Cup champs are in trouble. They'll try to rebound tomorrow night. Harry, Bob, and Scott will have it for you. 7:30 Eastern and 4:30 Pacific time from Madison Square Garden. This series switches back to Vancouver, and we'll be on the air at 7 o'clock Pacific time, 10 o'clock Eastern on Thursday. Game 3.
And Don Cherry will be in the coach's corner tomorrow with Ron McLean. Brent Sutter for Chicago. Here's Sutter on the backhand. It doesn't get through. Hedican chips it up to Ojic and out to center ice. And the Hawks clear it back in with 7:20 left in this third period. Hedican hit Linden, and now Linden sends it cross ice to Pavel Bure as they try to ignite the Russian rocket here in the third period. And he's knocked down, and Chelios buries him at the line. Ojic picks up the loose puck. Ojic takes a hit from Chelios. Bure with O'Coin moving down, but nice play by Tony Amonte to break up that pass.
And with the Canucks defense jumping up into the play, there should be some 2-on-1s for the Blackhawks.
Big hit there by Gino Ojic. As Roenick skates out to center. Russ Courtnall knocked him off stride. He clears it in deep. Now Denny Savard. Canucks, and there's a big hit. Roenick decking Cullimore. And that'll serve notice that JR is definitely back. What a hit on Cullimore. Gerald Diddick in the corner. He's bumped by Roenick. It comes back to the point. Here's Lume. Spinning, double teamed, and knocked down by Smith. Denny Savard behind the net, under 6 minutes left now. Murphy off the boards, Amonte loose. Here's Amonte with only Russ Courtnall back, and Courtnall leveled Amonte. Russ Courtnall said they'd have to start hating each other like the St. Louis series, and the last few minutes will contribute to that. Ojic with a big hit, then Roenick on Cullimore. Pretty good hit there by Russ Courtnall on Tony Amonte. 5.5 minutes to play. Jeff Courtnall over on the right side. Baranek can't catch up with it. Steve Smith to Weinrich, and Jelena crashes in and miss Weinrich with that hit. Canucks trying to crash and create a turnover. Nichols with his glove on the puck. Can't work it free. It comes out in front. Here's Baranek with a chance. And his pass for Courtnall failed to click. Jeff Courtnall now. Pressure by Vancouver, and Murray Craven intercepted the pass. Slowly, the Hawks move out to center over the red line, and another line change with 4:50 to go. Lume took a quick look at the clock and moves in. Jyrke Lume winding up, and the shot, screen shot, missed the target. Hawks just clear it down. Bure back up, and he's got a little bit of space here. Winds up, and the shot off the stick of Chelios. And Belfour holds it with Suter and Linden exchanging shoves.
JR, the center of attention when this game began. He's just brought about the third biggest cheer in the building tonight after the 2 goals of that hit on Jason Cullimore. Things started to get a little physical, John.
And Russ Courtnall on Tony Amonte, a good defensive play. It was 1-on-1. Courtnall, the last man back. And then Chris Chelios on Gino Ojic. And this will get the blood going and this series heated up. There's been very little emotion, and JR is putting some emotion back into this game. Cullimore's got his head down, good solid shoulder check. And no complaints about an elbow or a high stick on that one.
And the Hawks lead on the scoreboard 2-0 with 4:22 to play. So over 124 minutes here at the United Center, and the Canucks have mustered just one goal. Ojic taken down by Brent Sutter. Linden behind the net. Checked by Chelios. Poulin, who has one of the goals, around the boards for Graham. Here Graham past Ojic and out to center. There's Bure. Poulin watching him. McCoy up ahead to Linden, and immediately Suter on Linden. Babbage will try. And Bure open at the line, went by everybody, and Amonte will take over. There's Roenick back on the ice. Flipping it high in the air. Amonte trying to skate underneath it, and it's chipped by a coin and flipped out to center ice. Running to the line, clears it in. Belfour out of the net. Momesso on the near side. It goes by him, and Tony Amonte starts out. 3:23 left in the third. 2-0 Chicago. Now Lume works to the line. Lume breaking in. 2-on-1 in the high pass. Momesso can't bring it down. Cliff Ronning with Russ Courtnall. Here's Courtnall. Lost control, and Craven has it. Murray Craven with Murphy on right wing. Hands it off to Murphy. Taken to the boards by Hedekin. Murphy trying to pry it free, and Ronning will pick it up in the corner with 2:45 left. Now Hedekin takes over. They try to get over the line, and the Hawks turn them back again. More evidence of why this is the Jennings Trophy team. 3 of the past 5 years. Dirk Graham, a former Selke Trophy winner, forechecking, along with Poulin. And the Hawks, or the Canucks, work it out to Pekka. Here's Pekka with Baranek, and that's broken up by Weinrich. Patrick Poulin at center just dumps it back in again.
Defense are always able to tag team any forwards because they always have that support from their forwards coming back.
Here's Russell stepping on the puck, losing his footing after Kirk McLean had trouble with the long shot, and Graham sitting on the doorstep. Babbage on the move. He can't break through. And 1:45 left in the third period. The Hawks so far preserving the 2-goal lead. Roenick at center dumps it in. Fans chanting for Eddie Belfour. Trevor Linden on the move, and out of the net comes Kirk McLean. The extra attacker is on. Chelios around the boards. Roenick clears it out to center. McCoy will get back ahead of Amonte. He clears it to an empty wing, and now the Hawks are there. Suter's shot, gloved down by a coin. Savard is dumped, and now Hedekin skates in. Brett Hedekin trying to crash through, and Gary Suter's there. Off the glass, out to center. It's an empty net, and it's shot wide with under a minute to go. Lume's back. Jyrke Lume trying to pull away from Joe Murphy. Fans are on their feet at the United Center as Bure's offside. Let's go to the broadcast center. Here's Ron McLean.
There's no better place than Canadian Tire for quality brake and exhaust work guaranteed. Here's proof. We'll beat any competitor's quote by 10%.
Well, here they don't sing the Lady Goodbye song or whatever it is. You're the expert on that, John.
Yeah.
They chant the goaltender's name in a situation like this. 48 seconds left, and the Blackhawks lead Vancouver 2-0.
3 shots for the Vancouver Canucks here in the third period. And you're down 1-0. You're trying to create some offense, and they did. The first couple of shifts, they had their 3 shots in their first few shifts. They haven't had a shot in the last 10 minutes. And they just haven't been able to generate any offense against this good, solid defense of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah, give the Hawks credit for these last several moments. It's been a classic display Defensively, the right guy in the right place at the right time. They've done quite a job.
Defensive defenseman Rick Lee. He'd appreciate the strategy and the way they've been able to execute. But his team can run and gun. And I'm surprised that they haven't tried to trade 3-on-2s. I'll give you a 3-on-2 one way, but we're going to get one going the other way. And they haven't been able to do that. The Hawks have played a very disciplined style and just made the Canucks play their style of game.
And it's tough to play the Hawks when you don't score first. Canucks did in game 1 and lost in overtime. Here tonight, the Hawks scored first and have put a blanket on these Canucks. In the last series, the Hawks said if we can keep the opposition to 20 shots or less, we're in good shape. But how often does that happen? Well, it could happen tonight. 20-17 of the shots in favor of Chicago.
Now, Paul Stewart is down moving snow around. Ed Belfour has got the snowbanks around the posts in the back of the net. I'm sure the Canucks complained about this. And it's the old goaltender's trick. Anything that goes off the side of the net, it'll die. You can lose it there in those snowbanks that Belfour had built up. Paul Stewart comes back and cleans it up.
I don't know if you saw in the last series, but Belfour had so much snow down there that Kevin Collins made snowmen for each of the benches. He was taking it away in handfuls. 42 seconds left. Net is empty. Brent Sutter fires, and Dave Babbage made a nice stop. Gelio swiping at it at center ice, and now Babbage will clear it in. Barry Suter chops it right back out. And a coin all the way back into his own zone. Graham forechecking Linden. Up to Babbage. Cross ice for Jeff Portnoy. He'll send it in deep. 15 seconds left. And only one question left now. Linden. Tabore can't handle the bouncing puck. Hawks are up with it. Suter over center. And he is just going to dump it into the corner as Ed Belfour has posted the shutout. And the Hawks win 2-0 to lead the series 2-0.
Well, you're right about Jennings Trophy hockey, boys. 2 games in the series, 1 goal for Vancouver.
Ed Belfour congratulated by his teammates, but what a team effort, team defense. How many good scoring chances did the Canucks have? I would say less than 5, and that's usually a period of scoring chances. The Hawks limiting the Canucks, shutting them down here in the 3rd period.
A 17-save shutout for Eddie Belfour. The goals came from Cummins in the 1st, Poulin in the 3rd. Hawks win 2-0 and lead 2-0.
Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC's Stanley Cup playoff coverage. Brought to you by Molson Canadian.
Molson 3 stars this evening at Belfour's 2nd career playoff shutout. Gary Suter and Dirk Graham, the Hawks captain. Honorable mentions to the entire team. Jim Cummins of Dearborn, Michigan, with his first Stanley Cup goal, proves to be the game winner, and the Blackhawks roll all night. Their defensive game sensational. They now lead the series 2-0, as mentioned. 5 times in their history, the Vancouver Canucks have faced this deficit. Never have they been able to rally. The New York Rangers will try to do that tomorrow night when they host Philadelphia, try to get back on track. They've had 14 tries at it. And Greg Millen just came over here in the 100-meter dash. Ben Johnson been proud. I think it was a 9.86 you got in there. What did you think of that impressive effort for Daryl Sutter's game?
Well, just a team defensive game. Eddie Belfour did not have a lot of work, and somehow the Canucks are going to have to change their approach when they go back home.
They just look really frustrated, and well, they should be. We want to show, I don't know, do we have the highlight, John, of the 5 guys back? This is just an example of what they were confronted with in the final 10 minutes, and you could really feel Babbage carried it in, Lume tried to carry it in. They didn't generate any shots.
No, and when they did have a chance, you know, you can really tell when a team is frustrated when they do finally get a shot and they miss the net. They put it over. But look at this. Look at all the Hawks back, and they're giving it right to Ed Belfour as well. They have to put it into the corners, and Ed Belfour is so good with the puck. There's good hold-ups by the by the Blackhawks and a chance to score, but again, look at the defensive zone coverage. There's just Blackhawk shirts everywhere, and that was really the story of the game.
Happy to see Murray Craven's okay. He's second all-time for goals scored by a Murray. Bet you didn't know that, 224. The most ever by a Murray's Murray Oliver, 274. But he hurt his back working out with the Medicine Hat Tigers, went into the boards, precarious position, but he's fine. Now Vancouver's got a test because they go home, they play a Thursday night game, 7 o'clock local time. Then they'll play 2 matinees on the weekend. If worse comes to worse, they'll have to fly back to Chicago, although they'd be happy to do it. What do you think Ricky Lee's going to say to his team when he gets them home? Does he give them a day off, maybe take a break, or how does he approach this?
He's got to get them some rest somehow. They've got to work on the trap, however. How to beat the trap? Well, they've got to chunk it off the boards, they've got to get it in deep, and they have to get their defense to join somehow and use some speed through the neutral zone, something they haven't done at all so far this series.
Super, Greg. The other game tonight saw the Detroit Red Wings win handsomely 6-2. Tomorrow night, wide open hockey is what you can expect. The Philadelphia Flyers are at MSG against the New York Rangers. There's the final at the United Center this evening. Chicago 2, Vancouver no score. Thanks and good night.